I hope you're all aware that today is the yard site of the Orach Chaim, the Chaim ben Atar. I just wanted to read the Lishmasa, say over a couple of things about him, and it's quite interesting. We can learn something from what we're going to say. The first thing I want to say over is Pshat that he said on the Parsha this past week. It says there, Vayosem Hashem, the pasuk says, Vayosem Hashem Dovar b'fi Bilam, Vayomer Shuv el Balak, v'kos et bear. So the pasuk says, translated, Hashem put something into Bilam's mouth. Vayosem Hashem Dovar b'fi Bilam, Vayomer Shuv el Balak, go back to Balak, v'kos et bear, and this is what you should say. So what does it mean he put something into Bilam's mouth? What does that mean? And why did he have to give him such a strong command? Go back to Balak, and this is what you should say. You tell him, just go and you do what you have to do, and I'm running the show. So all of these details in the pasuk, the Orach Chaim explains. He was hired by Balak to curse Klal Yisrael, and Bilam was not just some person, who curses. He had tremendous knowledge of all of the, let's call, spiritual forces and how to harness them and how to use them. So Balak wanted Bilam to use these forces and curse the Jews. So Bilam has this meeting with Hashem. He goes to Hashem and connects, so to speak. And Hashem says to him, listen, I'm running the show. Don't tell me what to do. He tells this to Bilam. I'm going to tell you what you have to say, and you have no choice. So when Bilam got that message from Hashem, he didn't want to go back to Balak. What am I going to waste my time for? He's hiring me to curse, and I can't do what I want, so what am I going to go back? I'm just going to make him angry and agitate him. I'm not going back. So Hashem says, you have no choice about that either. Shuv el Balak, you're going to have to go back to Balak, and you're going to say exactly what I tell you to say. That's the simple shot in the pasuk. Says the Orach Chaim, Chaim ben Atar, Zechuso Token el Yogen Aleinu, we should all in his chus have protection and bring bracha. The Orach Chaim, Bilam was a despicable person. He was inundated with tumah. Now, the Goyim, Hashem gave them somebody to be on the same level as Moshe Rabbeinu. They shouldn't say, well, you had Moshe Rabbeinu, and we didn't have anybody to match, so of course we have no choice. So Hashem gave them somebody to match Moshe Rabbeinu, and that was Bilam. He was so big, but in the negative sense, but very big in the negative sense too. Hashem did not want that what Bilam is going to say, the words of Hashem should come out of such a mouth of tumah. So what Hashem did, he put in a mechitza of some kind. Vayosem Hashem Davar b'pi Bilam. He put some kind of mechitza into Bilam's mouth. So what came out of Bilam should not be directly connected to the kedusha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Hashem put something into Bilam's mouth. It should be a chatzitza of some kind, because his mouth was kula tameh. So that's the first thing. And afterwards, he was able to speak, and the words came out as Hashem wanted, but it didn't have the tumah of being connected to Bilam's mouth. So what did it say there? It says, Vayosem Hashem b'pi Bilam, the kos edaber. Kos edaber. Ko is the word which is used very often for the Shekhinah. Ko Amar Hashem. You find that throughout Tanakh. Ko Amar Hashem. Ko. Ko is the Shechina. So what was coming out of Bilam's mouth were the words of the Shechina, but they weren't touching the body of Bilam, so to speak. There was a chetzitza of some kind. Vayasem Hashem davar b'fni b'bili, put some kind of a chetzitza in Bilam's mouth, and then Hashem's message can come out of Bilam's mouth for Klal Yisrael.
Ko. Do you spell it Chaf?
Chav Hey. Ko Amar Hashem. Ko Amar Hashem. That means it comes through the Shechina. That's the Shechina. That's the lowest level. That which we're in contact with all the time. So, what was the other thing there? 1 second. Ko Hashem. Ko Amar Hashem. Wasn't Hashem drive with the Pilam? I don't remember exactly. There was something else that I missed in the pasuk. But this is what the Orach Chaim wanted to say. It says in Nino Nishmaso, the understanding of that pasuk. It wasn't just Stam Bilam spoke. When Bilam spoke, it was the Hashem speaking through Bilam, but there was a chetzitza. Because Bilam's mouth was Kula Tameh. Kula Tameh. There was some kind of a partition separating the voice that was coming out of Bilam's mouth from his actual mouth. So there had to be a chetzitza, because what was coming out of Bilam's mouth was the message of Hashem. How could that come out of a mouth which is like an animal, mouth which is full of dung, of manure? How could Hashem come out from such a mouth? The words of Hashem come out from this. So Hashem put in some kind of a chatzitza, some kind of a separation, a spiritual one, of course, not a physical one. And then the message was able to come out to Klal Yisrael. And that was the Orach Chaim's shot in that. Okay. That's one thing. Now I have to tell you something absolutely amazing. Two things about the Orach Chaim. One thing was he had a wife. Orach Chaim had two wives. Orach Chaim, Reb Chaim and Ati had two wives. Svardim never accepted officially Chaim Rabbeinu Gershon to have two wives. They are allowed to have two wives, and they did. And he had one wife who couldn't have children, so he had another wife who was able to give him children. The one who couldn't have children, she was not a simple woman at all. She wore talis and tefillin, and she was a lamdanit. She knew how to learn, and she had her own mind, and she did what she think was right.
Also Rashi's daughters.
Huh?
Also Rashi's daughters.
Okay, Rashi's daughters, yeah.
What year are we?
Late 1600s, about 1600s. And this is in Morocco. That's where it came from.
Probably Akiva's wife.
Excuse me?
Akiva's wife also.
Okay, but that was, generations way back.
Short talis also, because there's Beged Ish.
I have to check again if it says talis, but the tefillin, I'm pretty sure. Talis, I remember. I think it was talis also. In any case, so she did her own thing, and he accepted it. I mean, he knew he had a hush of a wife, and he lived with her. And I guess they lived very well together. He respected her, she respected him. So one time she was told that they're having a hush of a guest for Shabbos. And she said, this is a hush of a guest. She didn't want to have any arguments with her husband. But she went out to buy the most expensive fish you could buy. It was more expensive than steak. The most expensive fish we did buy. And she brought it home, and she prepared it for Shabbos, for the meal. And it had a special kind of a liver that they prepared also, a delicacy, real delicacy. So she's in the middle of preparing, and the Orach Chaim, Reb Chaim ben Attar, walks into the kitchen, whatever it was, and he sees this very, very expensive fish. And he says to her, what, we don't have money for such things. Nobody has such things. And he said, I think it's even a question of Achel Hashem. We should go and then spend so much money like for kings and queens. It's pasnish, She didn't answer a word. She didn't answer a word, didn't say anything. They had tremendous respect for each other. He said a word, he gave a critical statement, and she didn't respond. Don't forget, she is a chashuva woman. She's a lamdanit. She knows how to learn. She wears talis, tefillin, and she does what she wants. Of course, being respectful at all times. But in this case, because they had this chashuva guest coming, she wanted to go overboard, and she didn't consult him. And she went out to buy the fish. Comes to the Friday night meal. So the Orach Chaim, he's sitting at the head of the table, and his chashuva guest is sitting right next to him. Whoever the person was, I don't know who it was. Doesn't say really who it was. And then the other people who were sitting there. And she is going to now serve the first course, the fish. She serves everybody a portion of fish. Normally you give to your husband first, and then you give everybody else. She served everybody else, and she didn't even give her portion to her husband. No portion whatsoever. And she bends down and whispers to him, "B'makom sheyesh chil Hashem ein cholkin kavod l'rav." You hear that, the voice line? B'makom, he gave her a shtach before Shabbos Friday when she was preparing the food. He said, "To chil Hashem to spend so much money. Who are we? We're not wealthy people that we can spend so much money for food. To chil Hashem to spend." She took it, didn't say a word. But she gave it back to him now at the meal. But nobody else heard it, I think. She said to him, "Makom sheyesh chil Hashem ein cholkin kavod l'rav." So she gave everybody else a portion that she did not give him. She's giving him back a portion of what she got. He said to her, she's making it chil Hashem by spending money for wealthy people, and they're a poor family. So then she gave it back to him. Chil Hashem. So you don't, when you have a chil Hashem, you don't have to give cover to the Rav if there's a chil Hashem. And what was his reaction?
Is that a saying of the Chachamim? The Malkum Sheish Chil Hashem?
And Chol Rav, it's a Midrash, yeah, sure, why not? She quoted a Midrash Chazal.
So what does that mean?
So she said to him, he gave her that vort Friday afternoon when she was preparing the fish. He said to her, "It's a chil Hashem. Spending so much money, what are we, wealthy people? It's a chil Hashem for us to do such a thing." She didn't answer a word. But came to serving the fish, she didn't give him a portion. And she's saying to him, "You think it's a chil Hashem? Chil Hashem, when the Rav makes a chil Hashem, you don't have to give him kavod. But mokom sheyesh chil Hashem, ein cholkin kavod l'rav." Now what would you do if you're sitting with a whole bunch of people at the table and your wife tells you something like that? You give everybody else a portion and you don't get. And you're the head of the family. What do you do in such a case? He didn't say a word. Mekabel bi'avo. Mekabel bi'avo. He had tremendous amount of respect for his wife. Even in such a case where he was embarrassed publicly. You give everybody a portion and not the Rav, not the head of the family. You don't give him a portion. You should give him first. Not only she didn't give him first, she didn't give him at all. Because she had her daya, and he had tremendous amount of respect for his wife. In spite of the fact that she had her mind, and he had his mind, tremendous amount of respect. This was the godless of the Orach Chaim. The Baal Shem Tov was quoted, have to say, that the Orach Chaim was Bechinas Mashiach in their door. The Orach Chaim. This person we're talking about, Chaim and Aton, Bechinas Mashiach ben David, in their door. And they said to the Baal Shem Tov, when he came down from his meditation, whatever it is, the Rabbi said, when I was coming back, or when I was going in, the Orach Chaim was coming back. In other words, he was already there before me. They went into this meditation, connecting to other Mishalyonim, to talk. And so he says, the Orach Chaim is bigger than you? So Baal Shem Tov answered, a bigger Zoras than me he is, for sure. He was there before I was there. He's leaving and I'm first coming. Because they were doing their meditation, connecting to the other Mishalyonim, and the Baal Shem Tov was saying the Orach Chaim preceded me. He was there first. Okay? So that's one indication of what kind of a person he was. Not just a big Torah scholar, but he was a person who was worked out to perfection in Midos. Here he is sitting with the entire table, Friday night at Kiddush, and his wife gives him no portion. I didn't even ask, what about me? Didn't say a word. Didn't say a word. This is godless. This is shiftless, haruach. This is the way, humility. And they went on with the meal and everything was fine. She got him, he got her Friday afternoon, Chil Hashem. You say to me, Chil Hashem? When there's Chil Hashem, we don't give cover to the Rav. This is what she answered him back. When she quoted him, Amayim Chazal, and on his level. Okay, that's one Maisa. The second Maisa.
She embarrassed him in public.
Well, no, she didn't say it out loud.
But it was obvious.
Maybe he didn't want, no one knows. But he wanted the fish, he didn't want fish. Maybe she didn't, maybe he told her, don't serve me fish. We don't know. That she wouldn't do. To publicly embarrass him, Chalil v'chas. That she wouldn't do. She was a tzaddikus. And she had her own mind, and that was it. Her name was Tziphonia. That was her name. She had her own mind. The second Maisa was the following, which I don't understand. I have a big question mark about this Maisa, and I'm bleeding neder. I read it in the pamphlet of Rav Yitzchak Ginsburg, Shlita, and I don't understand how such a thing could happen. What happened was they were sitting at Friday, Shabbos afternoon at Suda Shlishis. And the Orach Chaim was darshaning, and was a long drasha, and the drasha went into the night, and then after they finished, it was already Tzesek Kochavim, so they davened Ma'ariv, and everybody left after Ma'ariv. The last one to leave was the Chidah. He was one of the Talmidim, it seems, or he was there for that meal, for Suda Shlishis, whatever it was. He was the last one to leave. A big Talmid Chacham, and he became, in the next generation, one of the Gedolei Hador. This person, he was a Talmud at the time. As soon as he walked out the door, buckets of rain, mamish, came down from Shemayim. A shower like you never saw. Buckets and buckets of rain. And he's standing outside the door. But he didn't have the chutzpah to knock on the door to go into the house that he just came out of. You have to understand, for that, their house that they had in those days. This is probably in Morocco where they were living. I mean, there was a time on the way to Eretz Yisrael that the Orach Chaim stopped off in Italy for a few years, and that's where he printed this famous parish on the Torah, Orach Chaim HaKadosh, in Italy. He came to Eretz Yisrael. He lived only 1 year in Eretz Yisrael, then he was nifter, in his late 40s. And he was already such a gadol. He must have been a gadol even when he was already bar mitzvah. He started very, very early. But anyway, he was a gadol, and in his late 40s, and he was, the Baal Shem Tov said he was Bechinat Mashiach in his generation. Amazing. Okay, anyway, let's back to the story. So it's pouring, buckets of rain are coming down. This is Motzei Shabbos, and the Chidah standing outside, and he doesn't have the chutzpah to knock on the door to ask to be let in. After, I don't know how long it was, doesn't say how long it was an extended time. The Orach Chaim comes to the door, opens the door, and invites him to come in. And he's drenched. I'm adding that detail. It doesn't say that, but I imagine. Standing out in the rain, and they lived in very, very small homes. They didn't have the large homes with many, many rooms. They lived in very, very, I would say, modest homes. Maybe he had one large room, and if they had to do something that required sneers, they'd put up some kind of a mechitza, and that was the way they lived in those days. So I had one room. So Orach Chaim says to the Chidah, I'm sorry I couldn't invite you in. Eliyahu Hanavi just came, and he was sitting me, telling me Seder Satar. And he only had one room. So there's nothing I could do to invite you in. I couldn't disturb the yichud that I had with Eliyahu Hanavi. And then after he left, I opened the door and invited you in. That's the story. So there's two things here. First of all, as it's said over, that the Orach Chaim had Gilui Eliyahu. That's number one. Gilui Eliyahu. He's a young man. He's already not a person 60, 70 years old who's gone through life and he's worked on himself. He's in his 30s, 40s, a young man. And he already had Gilui Eliyahu at that age. But the big kasha is, how could Eliyahu Hanavi allow this Talmid Chacham to stand in the rain and be drenched? I can't understand that. Eliyahu could find an eitzah. He could find an eitzah of what to do with that fellow. And that's my big kasha. I quoted it over as I read it in the pamphlet of Rav Yitzchak Ginsburg. That's what it says there. But that's a big kasha. How can Eliyahu Navi? I mean, the Orach Chaim, he's already subservient. When Eliyahu Navi is there, the Orach Chaim becomes who's he to say anything when Eliyahu Navi is here? Eliyahu Navi should have known. I mean, why didn't he invite him in or find some way to protect him? Whatever. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, even if you're saying Shema Israel and a Choshev Rob comes in, you are allowed to interrupt and say a word to
Okay.
Kal Vachomer. It's not if you pray direct to Hashem, or if you pray or you study together with Eliyahu Navi, there is a difference. If you are allowed to interrupt Shema Israel.
Okay, so you're making the kasha stronger.
Exactly.
Okay, it's fine. All right. So this was to bring out the godless of the Orach Chaim. You don't realize. You see, you open up the Chumash of Midrash Gedolos, you have the Ramban, you have the Balei HaTosfos, you have this and that, and you have the Orach Chaim. But the Orach Chaim was very, very chashuv, and we said Divrei Torah Le'ilui Nishmasa. It should be Yagin on Klal Yisrael, and help to bring the Gula Shlema and take us out of the period of dinim that we're in right now. Okay, so that's that. Now we go back to our regular Seder. Last week we started on a number of things which bring Hamtakas Adin. So I'll pass out those sheets again, and we didn't finish the list. Can you take one, please? And let me just have one also. You pass the rest down.
Amdala, Taka, and Ska.
Pass that over, please.
Yes, what of this?
Yeah, that one's yours.
Yeah, pass this over.
Take one and pass the rest.
This one's yours.
We went through, I don't know what number we stopped at last week, Yud Beis and Gimel, I remember.
Yes.
Something like that. Just let's read over again from the beginning quickly. Remember, what we're trying to do here is, you have to understand, that there is such a concept of let's call it a mood or a atmosphere that exists. Now, a mood or an atmosphere could be a good mood, a good atmosphere, and it could be a bad one, it could be negative. And what we're in right now in Eretz Yisrael, the world, is a very big mixture. Very big mixture. But there's a lot of bad going on. A lot of bad going on. A lot of killing going on, a lot of murder going on, a lot of rape going on. What's going on all over the world now is a tkufa of din in the world. That means the negative forces are showing themselves to a degree much, much greater than would be comfortable for anybody. Nobody is happy with the present situation. Everybody would like to have more peace, be more harmony, people should be happier. But unfortunately, all over the world, there's great unrest and there's a lot of belligerence and wars. And it's terrible, terrible what's going on. Terrible. Very, very bad. We're all aware of what happened just in Tel Aviv, just over the other 2 days ago in Tel Aviv. So let's just quickly, what we have to do is, and this, I want to give you, trying to understand something now, I want to tell you something which is really mind-baffling. It's mind-baffling, but I have maybe an answer to it. You have a tremendous universe. The universe is so vast, we have no concept of the universe. Many, many years ago, when I was in college, I think is that where I saw it, one of our teachers, a professor, I don't know, he showed us what the scientists tried to give us an idea of where we are in relation to the universe. And the universe has galaxies. And each galaxy has hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of stars. And there are hundreds of galaxies. Huh?
I'm saying billions of galaxies.
Well, okay. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Millions. Could be.
Into
And therefore, the number of stars that exist are without number. trillions and trillions upon trillions. I don't know any numbers bigger than trillions, what to say, but if I wanted to find the planet Earth in that tremendous picture of trillions and trillions of stars, could I find it? Couldn't find it. And we couldn't find it either on the picture. They made this picture of the universe, all the trillions of stars, and you could not find the planet Earth at all. It's so small, it's, it's not like non-existent. Non-existent. Now this is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. We're given the Torah. The Torah says, "Ubacharta b'chaim," you choose right, you choose life. Don't choose the bad. Go down the right way, don't do the wrong way. And we influence what's going to go on in the heavens by our deeds. One little insignificant speck on this entire universe, we make the whole difference? How can it be? How can it be? You can't even find the globe. You can't even find the globe. And how much of the globe does each person take up, or Klal Yisrael take up? Less than a fraction for fraction. You can't even, I don't even find the words to describe such an insignificant small amount. And we're given the Torah, and we say, we make, Hashem is, it's all for us. The whole world's for us. And we make a tikkun or we make kilkul. And we're given the ability and the privilege to make tikkun olam. It doesn't seem proportionate. Want to hear the answer? I'll tell you the answer. It's an amazing answer. It's an amazing answer. If you understand this answer, you have a lot that you have gained. When the answer came to me, I hope that it's true. I hope that it's true. It makes a lot of sense once you hear it this way. If we want to describe what is God, we can't find definitions to describe God. We don't know what God is, what it is. Hashem. We use words, letters of the Aleph base, Yud Kei Vav Kei, Elokim, Shaddai, all kinds of words to describe. This is not the essence of God. These are all characteristics of the way God manifests himself. But the essence of God himself, the only word that we use that comes closest to it is Yud Hey Vav Hey. That is the word that we use to describe the essence of God. It has in it past, present, and future. Haya, Hove, V'yeh. Was, is, and always will be. This is God. In other words, God is something which is infinite. It's something which is forever. It's an existence that is forever, but here's the important thing. It's perfect. God is perfect. There is no chisaron in God. There's nothing lacking, no fault at all in God. Nothing. Everything is absolutely perfect. What happened? Well, what happened was, in this tremendous, majestic perfection, for whatever reason God had it, we don't understand what God's ratzon is, why he willed it. He decided he wants to create a universe. He wants to create planets. He wants to create stars. He wants to create human beings. Is this going to upset the perfection in some way? If God is already perfect, he doesn't need anything. When you're in the state of perfection, you are perfect. There's no reason to touch it. Leave it be perfect. What are you messing around with the perfection for? That we don't know. But this is part of the way God decided to do it. This is something which we don't understand. The reason why God, in his perfect way, would want to do anything if it's already perfect. Leave it perfect as it is. It's the best he can get. You can't get better than perfect. But God maybe has other things that we don't know about. It's part of perfection. He decided he wants to create something. He wants to do something. Now, this is the interesting thing. The interesting thing is that all of this creation, all this is universe, we don't know if there's life any place else in the universe. Really, we don't know. How much do we know? Of all of these trillions and trillions of stars, who knows what's doing on all those trillions and trillions of stars? We know? We may have some knowledge about something, but how far much, when you have trillions and trillions of stars and all these galaxies, which every galaxy has hundreds of thousands of millions of stars or trillions of, so how much could you know about anything that really exists? What we know is we are here. We know that there was one planet which you can't even find on the map of the vast universe. You can't even find it. And on this map, on this earth, this globe, we have a Torah, we have Adam Harishon, and Chava, and Cain, and Hevel, and the whole history, everything. And we were given the privilege and the honor to correct some kind of apparent fault. There's no faults, because God is perfect. There's no faults. But there's something that looks like a fault. On the outside, it looks like a fault. You have the Shoah, 6 million Jews killed ruthlessly. It seems like a fault. Something's wrong. Not only that, whatever, the flood, the Noah's flood, the whole world was destroyed, Kimat. What's going on? God creates a whole world and destroys it. What did he have to create it to begin with? He's in charge. He's the boss. This is something which going into Hashem's mind, which is beyond us already. But that was his Ratzah. You should know, nothing happens in the entire universe without the approval of Hashem. He created it, and everything has to go with his approval. That means the flood, the destruction, the Shoah, at the end of the day, he has to approve it. If he hasn't approved it, it doesn't happen. So he has some kind of a plan, some kind of a will, that we were given the ability to make tikkun olam. Yeah, does that sound right? We? Who are we to make a tikkun in God's world that he created? He's the boss. The answer is, this is what I came up with. I don't know if it's true or it's not true. Since we're saying that how much of percentage do we take up? We can't even find in numbers the amount. It's so insignificant. Meaning to say what? That God's perfection never really changed from perfection. It only looks like some kind of a fault. But there is some kind of plan, even in what we think is is bad and evil, like the Holocaust, like the flood, everything that happened, Mitzrayim, everything that went on, it looks to us like it's bad. But first of all, it's so small, it's so insignificant in the entire creation of the entire universe. It's nothing. What is this one planet? You can't find it on this map. You can't even find it. So the perfection of a God is not really disturbed at all. There's one fraction of 1% that looks like something is bad, but it's not really. And therefore, in that what looks like we have, it's a game, it's a mass game. We have the ability to make tikkun olam. That's the way we have to look at it. In other words, it's not disproportionate at all. It's proportionate because God's perfection never changes. And he says in the Navi, Ani Hashem lo shanisi. Hashem never changes. He's always perfect. Something that's perfect cannot change for perfection. If it changes, it's not perfect to begin with. So God never changes. He's always perfect. But he did such a thing to make it look as something needs a tikkun. How much of it needs a tikkun? Something which is so insignificant, less than you can't even find the numbers which call it a fraction. How much is this globe in the entire universe? Can't even measure it. We can't even find numbers small enough to explain it. So therefore, it's really not let's call it an aversion to what we said before, that God is imperfect. God is not imperfect. He's totally perfect. But he did something to make it look like imperfection, and it's so small, that little something that he did, that we are given the ability to make a tikkun, and that is going to make the perfection look better. But it's always perfect anyway, even if it doesn't look good. And to who? Only to us. To Hashem, it's perfect all the time. We don't understand Why he would want to do such a thing? To go to Hashem's Ratzon, I don't know. I would attempt to say, very interesting idea, I would attempt to say that we are under the impression that what is perfection? Perfection is a state of relaxation which doesn't have to change. That is perfection. A relaxed state that does not have to change because it is already perfect. When you have something which is perfect, it doesn't change. Why does it change? Leave it as it is. Why should you make any change at all? That is mistake. That's the mistake. That's what everybody thinks. You have 6 days of the week, comes Shabbos, boy Shabbos, boy Menucha. Shabbos me'ein olam haba. Oh, a rest. No more creations on Shabbos. Hashem created the world in 6 days. Shabbos he rested. Shabbos is olam haba. That's perfection. You don't have to do anything. So why does Hashem create a world like this, that there's change going on all the time? The answer is, this is a chiddush. The answer is, our understanding, our definition of perfection is mistaken. We would say perfection is a state that you reach, and once you reach it, everything is calm and everything stays as it is because it's perfect. The chiddush is that perfection seems to indicate that there is constant movement. It's never a permanent relaxed state. There is constant movement. Perfection does not necessarily mean that you're totally relaxed and you don't move and you don't change. No. Perfection can mean always moving, never stopping. That's why it could be that the way the world works, the solar system works, it's always revolving. The solar system is not static. The solar system works in revolutions. Planets, stars, moons. I imagine all of the galaxies are always in movement of some kind. This seems to be one of the characteristics of true perfection. We think perfection is something like it's all haba. Oh, I'm working 6 days a week, and Shabbos, no more work. Menucha. That's wrong. That's maybe for us, but not for the true, the emistic understanding definition. Perfection is constant movement. Constant movement. What do you say, Rabbi Yaakov Meir? What do you want to say?
Shamar dai.
Which word?
Dai. Stop.
That means enough, stop. Yeah. Yeah.
It's one with the name of God.
Shin Dal and Yud, you mean?
Ken.
Shah-
Shamar dai. Stop the creation at a certain stage and stop.
I don't know where you get the Shamar from. Where did you get the Shamar Dai? Shamar Dai. Where did you get the Shamar from?
I don't know, somebody told me, I don't remember.
Shamar? I don't know where it comes from.
Shamar dai. Must speak.
She'omar. She'omar Dai. She'omar. He said Dai.
Yes.
Okay. That, yes. That I can understand. He said die as far as the physical world is only, but we know that the world is always expanding. It's only die, it's a relative. It's relative to something else which seems to be going, so it seems like it's stopping. But the world is still going around in circles. The world didn't stop. Planets are circulating, there's movement all the time.
Stop.
That's not getting bigger, that's getting bigger.
Yes.
But you have to understand, this whole view, we're talking about one solar system. This is nothing compared to the entire universe. There are all these hundreds and thousands of galaxies with millions and trillions of stars. So, whatever we think about here is down here. It's 1/4 of a half of a percent. It's nothing. It means nothing. You have to come to a larger, grasp of the whole thing.
Bigger picture.
Huh? Yeah, the bigger picture, of course. So the bigger picture seems to be, from this, that our understanding of perfection is mistaken. We would think that perfection means you come to a state of perfection and die. And you rest.
Every
Huh?
time you did this,
Hmm?
pictured, every time you said perfect, relaxed state, and picturing the hospital, at the last minute, the machine just goes.
Well, in a sense,
Yeah.
right? You've come to a certain point where now everything just relax. That's it. It's all over. That's it. All over. That's only the way we see it. It can't be that way, though, in truth. Can't be that way in truth. Because why is everything still moving? There's always movement. There's always movement. Everything, never, there's no such thing as total relaxation. The planets are always going around. The stars are moving. Everything's moving all the time. Why is that? Because our definition of perfection is mistaken. We have one definition of perfection, but Hashem's definition, the true definition of perfection, means that there is constant movement. Constant movement. Well, it's control, of course. Not stop. It's not hefker. It's constant movement. That is the control. That's Hashem. It's very, very deep, very, very difficult, but it gives a little bit of menucha to understand that how can we make a big difference, and any kind of difference at all in this vast universe? What are we? We're nothing. Trying to find us on the map, you can't even find the Earth on the map of the universe. So how could everything be totally in this? We got the Torah, and we have to choose. Choose between right and wrong. What is it going to make a difference on this one little globe in the entire universe? What does it mean? It's nothing. Nothing. You can't even find the whole Earth. You can't find the whole planet. The answer is, since God is so perfect, and for some reason or other, which we don't understand, He wanted to make something look like it's imperfect, and it needs tikkun. And He gave us, it looks like, the ability and the privilege to make that tikkun. But something only that looks like that. So it's not really a change in the perfection whatsoever at all. I can tell you something that the Ramchal, you heard of the Ramchal, Midrash Rechavia, the one who wrote the famous Mesil Shashar, he has a tremendous, tremendous brain, and he was a Gaon Olam also. He has a theory, which is, he was an expert in the Arizal, and he adds one thing that we don't find in the Arizal. He says the following: Hashem is perfect. And before the world was created, there was this state of perfection. Already, it was there. Let's call that the Rosh, the beginning of things. At the beginning of things, there was a state of perfection. There was nothing lacking, nothing missing. Everything was perfect. In the end, when we have the Gula Shlema, when the whole world will see Hashem Elokei Yisrael Melech, Ubakol Mashallah, as we say at Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. The whole world is going to proclaim, this is the truth. We realize that the Jewish God is the God, and He's in charge of everything. We're getting closer to that. We're on the way. That's the beginning, and that's the end. What's in the middle? What's in the middle? Says the Ramchal, a very interesting idea. In the middle, you have this period where he wants to call it Shem V'Kim. You have good in the beginning, you have more good at the end. What's the difference between the beginning and the end? Very interesting, he says. In the beginning, it's more concealed. At the end, it's more revealed. The good will be revealed. The truth will be revealed. In the beginning, it's in the potential state. What's going on in the middle? What's going on in the middle, since it's all leading to good, everything is really good. Except there are things which are made to look like they're not good. That's a keynote. We need to say what's going on in the world right now. All of the terrorist activities that are going on right now, all the tremendous killings that are going on right now, all the suffering that's going on right now all over the world, all the protests, all of this, you would think, oh, this is terrible. We need the Gula Shlema. That's from our side of view. But if you're looking at it from Hashem's point of view, it's not terrible. This is all part of the process. This is the way it has to happen. This is the way it has to happen. When you're in the interim stage, between the beginning and the end, when the beginning it was all good, perfect, but it was more potential. When you're coming to the end, it'll become more galui, it'll be outspoken and seen by everybody. In the beginning, there is a stage of what looks like it's bad. But you want to know something? Nothing happens in the world without Hashem being behind it. It can't be. There cannot be anything going on in the world without Hashem being mamish on top of it. And therefore, this is all known beforehand. We don't know it, but Hashem knows it. He knows what's going to be, what was, and over the year. There's no time by Hashem. He could say the following: what's happening now in Hashem's view, it's all happening in the present. There's no such thing as time by Hashem. Hashem is infinite. There's no past, present, or future. We use those words for ourselves. But Hashem doesn't have time. Hashem created time. He made planets go around when the earth, the sun. He made the time that we have. This is all a relative thing. There's no such thing in Hashem's view as time. What's time? We ourselves say, over the year. So there's no real time by Hashem. So everything that's happening, Hashem knows everything that's happening when it's happening. Can we say that the Shoah was good? 6 million Jews destroyed, killed, ruthlessly, cruelly. 1/3 of the Jewish people. 1/3. If you tell somebody it was good, they'll think you're crazy. You have a sugar? That's the way the world looks at it. Terrible thing will happen. Of course it's terrible. It all depends on the way, how you're looking at it. If you're looking at it from Hashem's view, I planned out the world that way. That's what Hashem is saying. I planned it. If I didn't plan it, it couldn't happen. So how can it be bad? To the people on the world, because they're living in a not emistic world. We're living in a world of sheker, where all the truth is hidden. We don't see the truth. We can't see Hashem. We don't see the truth. All we see is what the world looks like. We see trees. We see sidewalks. We see oceans. What do we see? We see planets. But that's, yeah.
CrossFit Foundation.
Excuse me?
But you say it couldn't happen if God planned it.
It couldn't happen if God didn't plan it.
So you've eliminated free will.
From God's point of view, absolutely. 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 There's nothing that can happen without Hashem behind it. Everything is planned to the last detail, to the nth detail. But we can't live that way. We're not allowed to live that way. We have to live according to the Torah, and we do have to make a choice, and we have reward, and we have punishment, and so on and so forth. Absolutely. It's very dangerous. Very dangerous. We can't come away with make that mistake and walk away with it. There's no free will. We have to live as if there is free will, and you get punished and you get rewarded according to your choices. Absolutely. That's what we have to live. That's the way it works. That's part of the whole plan. All right. So we discussed that as all as a takeoff from the Orach Chaim. Regardless of that person, should be mamish bring the gula. Let's do a little bit of the list. We didn't get to we stopped in the list of last week. We stopped in the middle. Something about Yud Beis, something like that. Yud Beis, huh?
Yud Gimel.
Yud Gimel. Okay, Yud Gimel. So how do we bring about with the kochos that we have? How do we bring about a change? How do we bring about a sweetening of the situation? Yud Gimel. We'll start off with Echad. Yud Gimel is Echad. This chasek b'midas ha'anova Hashem meratzes HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You have to strengthen yourself with humility. Now, here's an interesting thing. Take a look for a minute. Yud Gimel, you have to strengthen yourself with humility. Look at Chaf. Go down the list. Look at Chaf. Le'esnaheg b'shiflus. The list says to conduct yourself, again, in a lowly spirit, lowly way. What's the difference between Chaf and Yud Gimel? It's very interesting. There is a difference. The difference is the following. Yud Gimel is talking about internally. A person should strengthen himself with the midah of humility, which gives HaKadosh Baruch Hu ratzon meratzeh. It pacifies him. Now that doesn't have to show itself. Where is the true humility? The true humility is inside you. What your opinions are, what you think of yourself, how you feel. That's what the midah of another is. When it says that Moshe Rabbeinu was anav mikol adam, doesn't mean that he showed it. That means he truly felt it inside. That's what anava is. That you feel that you're lower than anybody else. You don't think that you're anything. Why did Moshe Rabbeinu have that ability more than anybody else? You know why? Very simple. Because Moshe Rabbeinu had greater revelation to Hashem than anybody else. He realized how small he was. He realized more than anybody else how small he was, because he was so high. And therefore, nobody could come to his another. Now, Yud Chaf, Lesnahev B'Shiflus is something else. It's not what you think of yourself and what you feel. It's how you act. To act also in that same way, in the lowly spirit. Not to go up and sit in the front seat, everyone should look at you. No, you walk into the place, you sit in the back row, in the last seat. That's what it means, lesnaig b'shiflus. Anava is something which is internal. Lesnaig b'shiflus means it's external. If you want to make a difference in the way the world is working right now, that there's so much din, you want to make hamtakas adin, so it's very, very important to conduct yourself in a lowly manner. Not to try to brag, not to try to show that you know, or you this, whatever it is, and be the person who attracts attention. So two different things. One is internal, internally to feel humble, and the other one in the Chaf is to conduct yourself in a humble fashion. How you speak, how you walk, how you sit, where conduct, hanhaga. Two different things. One's inwards and one's outward. Okay, Yud Dalet. This is a very important one. Belimas hapeh. It means you have to have the ability, like we gave the example of the Orach Chaim. When his wife said to him, "You're not getting fish," you say, "I'm in a chil Hashem by buying spending so much money." He didn't answer a word. Didn't answer a word. Imagine one of the Gedolei Hador, and his wife is serving fish to the entire table, and they're sitting there on Shabbos Friday night. She doesn't give him a portion, and he doesn't say a word.
To be a friend.
That's part of it. Vada. It's also important, you know. Rabbi Yaakov Meir said, in other words, he said, "Fatron" means to give in, not to make an issue. Let it go. And then why it's so important? Because what has to happen is going to happen. Hashem is running the show. Hashem is running the show. What has to happen is going to happen. You don't have to make a big issue of everything. You don't think that you got what you're deserving to get? Let it go. Let it go. Hashem knows what's happening with you. He sees everything that you do. He knows what's inside your mind. What you have to get, you're going to get. Hashem planned it out from the very beginning. Nothing in the world is unplanned. Everything was hashgacha pratis. Don't make a big deal. You were dealt a bad portion, whatever it is, forget it. Let it go. Don't make an issue. Don't make an issue. And especially on Shabbos. Especially on Shabbos. You have to be very careful on Shabbos. Try to be mamayit b'divu b'chlal. Especially on Shabbos. Especially at home. Let things go.
Or in Beit HaKnesset.
Or Beit HaKnesset, These are places where sensitive places, where people are so Well, how come you're sitting in my place? What are you doing in my place? You have no right to sit here. You start a whole argument about who's going to sit here, that, all kinds of narishkeit.
Maftir.
Huh?
Maftir.
Yeah. These things are what makes Hamtakas Hadid. You want to improve the lot of Klal Yisrael, you have to be able to hold your mouth closed. Don't say anything. Take an example from the story of the Orach Chaim. Now he's embarrassed publicly. Everybody else gets his portion of fish, and he's the Gadol Hador and the Rosh HaMishpacha, and he gets nothing. And his wife whispers to him, "You say that my buying the fish to Shor Hashem, you get nothing." He didn't say a word. He didn't say a word. That's the real God. That's the God. That he'd be able to hold his mouth closed and not say anything. Blimas hapeh. Mamish. That's godless. That makes Hamtakas Hadid. Tezvav. Amira Shira Shirim. Okay, now we don't understand that. Shira Shirim is a declaration of the Ahava between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Am Yisrael. Shira Shirim and Shalosh Shlomo. Saying Shira Shirim is a good thing to say any time of the week, but especially Erev Shabbos, as Indians say Shira Shirim, or on Shabbos, which talks about the love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Am Yisrael. Tez Zayin, Amiras Parashas Yud Aleph Yibiyas Hanizim. No, that's Al Pi Kabbalah. Why then? I don't know exactly. Maybe it has to do with the Ketores, which comes to the next one. Amiras Parshas of Ketores. Also, there was Yud Aleph, 11 Ketores.
So, Test Zion is, say, the Parsha to Ketores or something?
No. That's Yud Zayin. Yud Zayin is the Ketores.
Okay.
Yud Zayin.
What's,
Test Zayin.
yeah.
You have to look. You have to look there in the Mishkan when they were given directions of how to have the goat skins. They wanted to use in the Mishkan.
The goat skins in the Michigan.
Yeah, the Mishkan, correct.
That's 16. Right?
That's 16, correct.
And 7.
To say those psukim. 17 is the Ketores that we say every day. You say that before Shachris. You say it before Ein Kelokenu, in Ein Kelokenu. And you should say it again a third time before Mincha. All right. Yud Tes Mishnayos Mesechtos Shvuos V'Ahalos. Well, Ahalos deals with the Indian of Tum and Tyra.
You down Ashkenaz?
Yeah, usually.
We don't say that.
You don't talk. Where did you say Tachlim? Where?
Milan, no? You know, we have a Svat shul.
They don't talk at all? Surprised? Svardim say? What does it talk to them? No, Minig, I don't know. You have to ask the rabbi there. I don't know why they say talk to them. No. Okay. Then you have your test, Lizbal Bushos. Here it is. To be able to take embarrassment and to bear it. Bear the embarrassment. Lizbal Bushos. Be embarrassed and not to react. Lizbal Bushos. That's what the Orach Chaim did. To bear the embarrassment and be silent. Not only be silent, keep a smile. Keep a smile on your face. Even though you're embarrassed, smile. And say to the person, "Thank you very much. I really appreciate what you just said to me."
That's
No, I mean to do it be'emes. Do it to be'emes. It could be that would change his, attitude towards you. If there's someone who embarrasses you and say, and you say with your whole heart, that will make a big impression on him. I appreciate you. First of all, he gave you a big matana. If someone embarrasses you and you accept it, that's a tremendous kapara. Tremendous kapara. And you say to him, "Oh, thank you very much. You have no idea how much I appreciate what you did. You embarrassed me." And you say it with your whole heart.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
For instance,
Yeah.
Rabbi, for a melech can be not mevatren and kvodo.
Melech shemochal kvodo kvodo eino mochal. He's not allowed to. He's not allowed to. But Rav shemochal kvodo kvodo mochul.
Okay?
Rav, Rav. Melech is not allowed to. Something else. Halacha. Melech has to have always that. He's talking about not a Melech God, a Melech Russian. A Melech Yisrael and Tzaddik. Also, a Melech King. But that's
What about the Prime Minister?
So rather you're saying not only we might be embarrassed,
We have to publicly acknowledge the embarrassment.
You have to make a public announcement. You can say to the person,
It's nice, say thank you.
yes, but you have to make a public announcement of it.
But
And you could say to the person, honestly and sincerely, and he shouldn't think that you just trying to put it on. You say to him, he doesn't realize what he did for you. That embarrassment is such a kapara. You don't know how much saving of tsar that you have in your life, all kinds of pain and all kinds of anguish, negative things that can happen in your life. By that, accepting that and being silent, you wiped it all away. You wipe all away, and you say to him, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And say it with your whole heart. He shouldn't think you're just putting it on. And you should feel it. You should feel it. He did you a big favor. It's not something that you would invite or were happy about. Say, do it to me again. Maybe you would. I don't know. But if after it happens, you should say, wow, Baruch Hashem. Yom Kippur is going to be a lot easier for me this year after going through that.
I was told that if you are accused publicly of something and you keep shut, you are saying you might be right. You should answer.
You have to. Each case is different. If it's a question of Chil Hashem, you have to stand up for it.
No, if it's not a question of Chil Hashem,
No.
it's an accusation to you, myself.
Why do you have to answer? Who's forcing you to answer?
Because if I don't answer, it's like I would say, he's right.
Shtika Kaidah. Could be. That's possible. Could be. You have to take that chance. You have to take that chance. It depends on the case.
Okay.
Depends on the case. Yeah.
I would say, Rabbi Sprocker, is it a mitzvah to be like a doormat, have people like abuse you and stuff like that? And he said, no.
Not a mitzvah. Not a mitzvah. But you have to know how to handle it. If you're going to become depressed, that's not good. You have to be able to take it and take it with a simcha. That's it. That's the idea.
You remember the expression with an example. The American guy who was talking with us, he was insulted and he kept silent. And Rabbi Sprecher said, he's a vatran, he's a gadol. You remember?
I remember.
Rabbi, it's like turning here the cheek.
Yeah, in a sense.
Exactly the same.
That's an American expression. In other words, you slap me on one side here, slap the other side here.
And that's what
It's a Christian expression.
Well, they got it from us,
It'd be good they got from us.
It was Yehuda Lev.
What happened?
Yehuda Lev was insulted in public.
What did it say?
Yehuda Lev.
Yeah, I remember you.
And he kept shut, he didn't answer. And Rabbi Sprecher always said, Yehuda Lev is a gadol because he's a vatran.
The point is, you have to know, you have to know how to take it. You should not take it and feel bad. To feel bad, you have to realize what happens to you is for your good. What happens to you is for your good. And if you're put down, that's also for your good. Don't think of it something bad. It's also for your good. All right, let's finish the list. Another two things. Ms. Bel Bushok, willing to accept her embarrassment. This night, we spoke about that also, to conduct yourself in a humble way, not only to feel it, but actual conduct. Which you don't go and sit in the front seat. Everyone should look at you. We'll take the back seat. Chaf Aleph. Now, here's a very interesting thing.
So the 20 is to conduct yourself in a humble way?
Yes. Conduct that's visible to everybody and to yourself. But not just the feeling, but the conduct itself, the action. Chaf Aleph, and here's something important. To accept upon oneself a kind of discomfort. He gives an example. If you sleep on two pillows, sleep on one. If you sleep on one pillow, try to sleep on the mattress without a pillow. Why? Because why should everybody else, there are hundreds and thousands of Jews in the south who are homeless, in the north, for months and months and months, they don't have a normal home to live in. And they're all bizarre, they're cramped into small quarters. And I'm living in my house here in Yerushalayim, No worries. I don't care. They have their problems, but Baruch Hashem, I don't have to worry about it. I can sleep on a pillow, with a blanket, with air conditioning. Everything is fine with me. That's not a true brother to your other Jews, fellow Jews. That's a true brother? Don't you want to identify with them in some way and lighten the burden on them? Lighten the burden. Accept some kind of a tsar yourself also. If you sleep on 2 pillows, sleep on 1. Make yourself a little bit uncomfortable to join in the tsar of your brothers. Feel along with them. If you sleep on 1 pillow, sleep on a mattress without a pillow. They don't even have a normal bed to sleep in. But do something to be partners in the tsar. If you take some of that tsar, you lessen the tsar from them by taking some of it on yourself. If you see somebody walking in the street and he has bundles on both arms and is weighing him down, so you walk over to him, can I help you? I'll take one of the bundles. That's an example of it. You're taking part of the tsar away from him and helping him doing it by taking some of it tsar for yourself. I mean, that's happened to me a number of times too. I have bundles in both arms. People walk over to me. Can I help you carry? Baruch Hashem, I'm able to handle it myself. I don't need that. But there are people who very much appreciate someone should help them carry and join in the burden. Take the burden off them. This is what he's saying for all of Am Yisrael. Kal Yisrael all over the world now is inside with anti-Semitism, all kinds of things going on. Let's try to do something to show that we want to also take part of the tsar on ourselves. We don't have to be given it. We can choose any kind of tsar, something we can choose. This helps to make Hamtakas Adin. The last thing on the list is what? Number 20, 22, yeah, to be more merciful. No, excuse me, next to the last. The Schat means Harachmanis, to show mercy. Try to be merciful. Try to be merciful. I'll give you an example, very easy, good example. You have flies and mosquitoes, which are very, very annoying.
Oh my God, this is my problem.
Flies and mosquitoes. So you get angry, and as soon as you get, bang, you kill it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, let's take this for an example. Instead of killing, I'm not talking about Shabbos, during the week.
Yeah.
Instead of killing it, put the cup over it, and then put your hand or a piece of paper underneath it, like this, and take it over to the window and open it up, let it fly away. Why have to kill it?
I extract
Then you can let the air
respect.
conditioning out.
Yes, I also.
All right, you got the
In the
point.
kitchen,
Yeah, he said,
in the kitchen you can do it.
inside the house, he said.
No, depending.
And that's, I just gave you a little example
Yeah.
of Rachmanis.
Yes.
Why do you have to take the cruel way out? Take the merciful way out.
Yeah.
It's a fly. He also has a life. He doesn't want to die.
But they spread disease.
Okay, so if you have a question of that, maybe. But the average fly, he's flying around, it doesn't spread disease. So anyway, you take the fly, capture it like this, right? Take it over to the window, let it fly away.
Shabbos you cannot.
Don't strengthen the midah of achzarius in yourself. Cruelty. Don't try to let the midah of...
Shabbos you cannot do it.
No, Shabbos is a problem. I said not Shabbos. I said,
In the window, and if it flies out, it flies out.
No, I mean, if you're
Well,
working.
Can't work on it.
the opening the window is fine, but the question is capturing it.
Yeah, right.
On Shabbos you can't capture. You're not going to capture.
You can't kill it.
Huh?
Can you
You
spray?
can't kill it on Shabbos either.
Can you spray?
Huh?
Can you spray?
If there's nothing there, you can spray to keep it away. But once it's there, you spray it on the spot. You'll kill it on the spot with the spray. You can't do that. That's killing it. Can't do it. So anyway, this is only an example. I just give you a common example. But try to take the midah of Rachmanis that you have, the merciful midah that you have, and make it greater, strengthen it, practice it more. This makes Hamtakas Adin. So Hashem looks down at us and says, "Oh, this is Am Yisrael. They have B'nai Rachmanis. If they have B'nai Rachmanis, I have Rachmanis on them also." That's the whole point. And the last thing is Chav Gimel, Tefillah B'Hislavos. This is very, very difficult. To daven with passion, not to do it rotely. Do not daven rotely. Rote davening is worth, I don't say anything. Put passion into your davening. Concentrate on it. See what you're saying. Give it emotion, give it feeling, put your heart into it. Hashem wants that. Hashem wants that. Don't take something which you do every single day as part of the routine. You do it. Shachos, Mincha, Ma'ariv. Every time you have an opportunity to talk to God, an opportunity to talk to God, take the opportunity and make something of it. Don't misuse, don't abuse that privilege. Go to the hospitals and see how much people would give to be able to be in your shoes, that you can go to shul, you could daven. I have a chavrusa that I live with on Fridays. He's already months in the hospital. Months. Because of an infection. They can't cure it. An infection. Now it's getting, I hope he's getting it better. He's now in rehabilitation. He's a person, no, he's a healthy person. He got an infection. Oh boy, would he be so thrilled to be able to come out of there and go to shul. You have to realize it's a great privilege. Don't abuse this privilege. You have a chance to talk to God 3 times a day officially. He's inviting you. He's giving you a chance. Take the opportunity and talk to him seriously. Look at the words that you say. If you don't understand the words, look at the translation. But say what you're saying with heart. Put your whole passion into it. Those are important words. That makes it tikkun olam. These things make a taka. We should be zayich to the Gulish. That's it.